Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to WCS European Challenger Group B. We are moving into our last match for Europe before we move into North America. My name is Fear Dragon, and I'm joined by Zombie Grub here at the desk, and we get to do literally the exact same match as the last time I saw you.
Yes, yeah, but hopefully it doesn't go the exact same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
At least for Harstem's sake.
Right, yeah, I guess if uThermal, like, does it again, he'd be happy, right? And he did...
uThermal would be happy, uThermal fans would be happy, but would they even be happy? Because I feel like we didn't even get that big of a game.
You know what? It is that one of those things where it's like, do I want the good games, or do I want to make sure that my favorite player gets through?
Yeah.
So...
Well, as you guys can see, this is, again, going to be that rematch from the second series where uThermal was able to take the series 2-0 over Harstem off of pretty much the same opening that he went for in both of those games. Harstem also going for a relatively similar opening, but second game going a little bit more poorly with the Widow Mine drop, getting 11 workers worth of damage done.
Yeah, that was weird. You know, he was almost given the medevac and a good opportunity to just completely shut that down, and he just didn't continue to pull his probe. So not usually what we see, but Harstem is playing a little off in many regards. So obviously he got 2-0 by uThermal in the first place, but then even his games versus Denver, I didn't feel like I was watching Harstem, you know, 100% Harstem.
Yeah.
He's like a little slow, he's a little off in a couple of things. He's definitely playing a lot more defensive and cautious than sometimes he plays otherwise. And I don't know if he's having an off day and he's willing to admit that. So he's just like, you know what, I'm just going to play it safe. Or maybe he's not as confident as he used to be in his play style. Well, either way, it's not great, right? And he has to be pretty on form to take on uThermal, who just almost took on Cero.
Yeah, 100%. And it's kind of, I was talking with In Control about this before, but you and In Control were also talking about this during the actual series, but it felt like even in that series of Harstem versus Denver, which he ended up winning both those games, so you look at the scoreline, it's like 2-0, but it felt like Harstem was on the verge of losing that entire first game. And the second game, it's like, once you hold off the first wave of the Ling Flood, it's like if you just keep re-walling properly, which Harstem did a great job of, don't get me wrong, but if you just keep doing that, it's kind of, you guaranteed yourself a win. And that's not exactly how this series is expected to go.
No, there's no guaranteed win against uThermal, or I guess uThermal.
Liquid Thermi?
No, it's definitely uThermal. No,
those broad shoulders.
No matter what you do, even if you did proxy and like you're supposed to defend against it, like that never is just the end all be all of a Terran player. I mean, we got mules, right? So we're always ready for that second all in.
Indeed. Well, we're going to be starting down here, ladies and gentlemen, the bottom right-hand corner of the map. The man with a lot to prove this series. He is Harstem from Team Asterion.
Do the cow sound. Yes. In the top left, as the blue Terran player for Team Liquid, he is uThermal.
Do the wolf sound.
Well, he's Team Liquid, so shouldn't I be like, nay? It's a horse.
You gotta do like it's like a half horse, half wolf.
Nay, woo.
I'll take it. Oh.
I'm glad this is what our commentary is boiled down to.
Yeah.
Just making wolf sounds and animal sounds. It's fun times. But this actually, okay.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, already going for the second guess.
Yep, this is definitely, usually when you see something like this, I kind of just assume it's going to be like something like a proxy oracle, but not sending a probe. He's going to be able to send the probe across the map pretty soon if he wants to do something like that. So it may not actually be the proxy.
Yeah, okay. They're gonna, you know, putting only a couple of probes in there anyways, but it is going to be the cybernetics core. So I brought this up in the first series, kind of, you know, talking about how Harstem does sometimes mix things up, how he's not as extreme as uThermal can be. But if there's one Protoss build that they'll just throw in where it's not really a big committal, a big difference, it is going to be that putting that cybernetics core first before the Nexus.
Yeah.
Maybe they crone out a unit or two from the gateway. It's another option too, but. All right. So not too big of a contrast. Something that's uThermal. I mean, whatever happens is going to be scouted by this Reaper. I want to skimp on that. And it looks like I would not mind at all if uThermal did the exact same build he's been doing. It's safe when he builds the bunker, and it obviously works out very well.
Yeah, clearly even when the Widow Mine drop in that first game that they played last time gets shut down, it still has a lot of firepower later on. I really am wondering if Harstem was hoping for an SCV scout. I don't think uThermal almost never SCV scouts though.
No, he doesn't. I mean, he might have been just paranoid that uThermal was going to try and 3-0 him basically as fast as possible. It's Catalyst that has a Reaper hop-up spot. And if it was a proxy Reaper, well, I would have been a little more prepared against it. But it's really just normal stuff. And the Reaper will want to get behind and scout the Stargate. It almost looks like they'd be put over there, but it's not. This is a difference of what we saw last series, where Harstem went for Robo first in the Twilight Council. We finally see a Stargate. Well, we see it. uThermal doesn't.
Yeah. Well, okay. uThermal's going to make a second pass through, and it does get a nice little grenade down on the Adept. The Adept Shade is also about to go off and going to be on cooldown, but a second Adept up on the high ground is going to try and get some damage on. I think that this Reaper should be able to get the Scout out.
I think so.
Yeah.
Even if it gets shot again, it's going to be fine.
Here it is.
Not even close. It's definitely going to see Stargate. Oracle sees the other gateway being built up as well. So now we're going to see, I think we're going to see maybe a bit of a difference opener here from uThermal. Actually, we already have with the Cyclone. So that's was the first difference, right? He's been going for 3 Widow Mines, so yeah, definitely didn't have a Cyclone. So in this case, he could add a Widow Mine after this Cyclone, and then just try and leave his Marines in the other spot. But he's got to be careful, right? If Harstem were to pair everything up, he does need everything at home.
Okay, Probe also going to be joining the fray and building a proxy pylon. All right, with 2 more gateways, or I guess 1 more gateway in addition to the 2 that we pointed out earlier being added on. Another Oracle being made. This could actually turn into some pretty heavy aggression if Harstem chooses to.
But it feels like uThermal's already read into this. I mean, if he had been going for Widow Mines and he placed them defensively against the Oracle and the mineral lines, this is where things really snowball forward. Maybe he's building like a tech lab reactor on the factory, not utilizing it. But no, he's continuing to build Cyclones. And this is actually perfect. He's gonna have 3 Cyclones, a medevac to micro them with 2. I don't see this doing anything.
Slow warping of 3 Stalkers, and I do like that just because, hey, you know what? There's not really going to be any stim or anything soon. Oh, medevac actually gets out of there pretty scot-free. Adepts do actually find some of the Marines, and the Oracle still have quite a bit of energy left over. This is turning into a really good concave for uThermal, though.
I was a little scared when the medevac like almost went over the Stalkers.
Yeah,
but it turned out into a beautiful, as you said, concave for uThermal. That was, I mean, I knew it was going to be good, and then he almost made it absolutely fantastic for him, absolutely terrible for Harstem. But I guess all of them get away with most of their units, so the game goes on. Harstem is expanding and still has to worry about a medevac drop, but it's not going to be any of those Widow Mines.
Yeah, but the medevac drop is going to go relatively uncontested because it looks like these warp gates, there's 1 warp in, 2nd warp in is just a single Zell. It looks like the 3rd warp gate may even be on cooldown or something, but...
Yeah, well, the other units are trying to take on the Cyclones. I think uThermal does this build often enough. Not what we saw last time these guys played, but he does it often enough where he does do the multi-pronged aggression. So Harstem was well prepared, even though he lost 4 probes. It wasn't perfect. I still call this better than it could have been at the very least. A single Phoenix was built, but still not seeing a Twilight Council put down halfway.
No, we haven't.
No additional tech.
No Robo either. Yeah, so...
Okay.
But he's also not continuing Stargate production. He got the 2 Oracles and the Phoenix, so it is kind of interesting. I guess when you invest into the 3rd base, you do have to cut things for a little bit. I was going to say, though, yeah, at least getting a Forge up makes sense. And there it is. Forge coming up alongside that Twilight Council, and Harstem finally finding some of the resources available for it. I guess he also had committed in the sense that he had made a lot of these Stalkers a little bit earlier on. He built the proxy pylon, so that does slow things down a little.
It does, yeah. It makes sense. It just, that's something to consider if this attack didn't do very much. But grabbing a Cyclone, grabbing, I think, 1 SCV, just taking damage mostly on the Stalkers. They did lose 1. It's all right. But I think this could do a lot of damage if uThermal wasn't so cautious with bunkers. A lot of Terrans like to skip the bunker, and if you do that, especially if you don't go for tanks, then that's when a small attack like that can actually snowball. But uThermal's playing pretty smart this entire day, actually, even against Sarah, right?
All right, Widow Mine production has begun here for uThermal. I wonder what he is reading into all of this, where he's seen a lot of just these pure gateway units that don't have any upgrades just yet. He's seen, okay, no Stargate, or sorry, no Twilight Council, no Robo that he saw at least.
Yeah.
And he also hasn't seen additional Stargate units being made, so it's not like he's expecting a lot more Phoenix.
Right, like I think that's probably the biggest thing he took away from scouting in the main base was like, okay, you only made the 1. I didn't see any other being chronoed, so it's not going to be a different, maybe like some people like to go back into Phoenix or Englaves, or I mean, there are some Protosses, I guess, that also play Colossus, but I saw 3rd base, no Stargate production. You're going to guess that it's Blink on the way, but that means that it was late, so there's not any charge to worry about for actually quite a while. Not just like, oh, it doesn't have it now, but it won't have it for maybe ever, as we do see robotics maybe put down. I would love to see disruptors. Harstem was using this rather well, but is he actually going to be able to get there?
Okay, well, Oracles has revelation to a lot of this army the entire journey across the map, and he gets another revelation down on a decent chunk of them. A stasis trap gets set off by a single Marine, so overall, things are not shaping up too poorly for uThermal, at least to begin things with this push. He's not just getting caught immediately off guard, but he's still also got, I love that he just got all of those Widow Mines inside the meta. Oh no, I guess he does reveal his hand a little bit with a Widow Mine at the front.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not all the Widow Mines over. Revelation there, but okay. So uThermal's, this wasn't the easy peasy, just I have stam, I'm gonna win, as the last series was. So already looking better for Harstem, as he certainly mixed things up with the Stargate opener, with the aggression. It didn't do a great job, but it didn't do a poor job either. So it's just, he's living longer than before. He is gonna go for disruptors, but he is also starting charge. So not like double robo disruptor and that's it, disruptor blink.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be, that's the splash of choice right now. And is this something uThermal is going to expect? I mean, Harstem does this, but not like all the time. It's not like he's, known as like M Canning or something like that.
Oh man, both of the Oracles end up falling there. Really nice snipe off from uThermal. He just sent out 5 or 6 Marines to go snipe off the second Oracle since he saw the first one went down to the Widow Mine.
Well, that's not great.
Yeah.
Brobo wants to reduce the disruptors.
I really like
vision.
I really like that he's remaking the Oracle though.
Yeah, that's the only vision he's gonna have. Well, he's actually dotting the map with units or pylons, so it's not bad, but it's not the same as having a non-stop revelation or a lot of observers. So this is still a question of, has uThermal scouted that it's disruptors? He does scan the natural and sees, well, he's overproducing, but
I don't think that's enough to.
Yeah, he hasn't seen the robotics bay. Okay, now he sees the army.
Okay, Oracle is gonna get a tag off on just the Liberators for the most part, so the Widow Mines are pretty much in the clear right now. It's gonna be a little bit more annoying, but oh, Stalkers get a big blink up forward. Signed off one Liberator Disruptor, gonna cover the way.
Yeah, a little bit of micro to micro. Widow Mines are gonna get a lot of shots off, or any shots off, but the Liberators do advance forward. Oh, that Disruptor shot was pretty good in the middle of the heart of the army. uThermal's not gonna back off.
All right, Widow Mines. Oh, there goes a handful more of them. But hey, uThermal is still finding an opportunity to sneak his way into that mineral line. Oh, Disruptor shot gets a pretty good trade there. uThermal starting to bleed out a few too many units. I don't think he can stay here too much longer.
I'm really surprised he stayed as long as he did for many reasons, but he just taps out because behind that, the third CC was being harassed. He lost 17 SCVs, I believe it was, and turning into basically an all-in. And I think that might be why he stayed around as long as he did.
Yeah.
But, I mean, 17 SCV losses, I guess that does suck. I feel like if he had just pulled back after that first good Disruptor shot, but then he would have lost the Liberators and the I don't know. Like, he was put into a tough choice.
Yeah.
Harstem finally made uThermal sweat.
Yeah, we didn't get to see it thanks to my wonderful observing. I totally did not pan over to it during all the Disruptor stuff. But there were 4 or 5 Zealots that you were talking about. We're over at uThermal's third that got all those SCVs kills.
Yeah.
And we actually saw those earlier on, that they were warped in there and they're just waiting for the moment that uThermal moved out, and then he kind of pounced. And yeah, uThermal was just so busy because there's such a micro-intensive engagement, didn't get a chance to react.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the pylon that was put down at the very beginning of the game that was supposed to kind of pair up more with the Adept to Oracle, and it was never taken out.
Yeah.
That thing's taken out, then that's a very different game. No SCVs are lost. Maybe he doesn't break Harstem, but it's a longer game instead of uThermal just tapping out. So okay, Harstem, he fights back. He got that confidence boost or something from defeating Denver, and that was a Harstem I love seeing, He mixed things up, he was aggressive, he tried to find the holes in uThermal's defense, and at least made it an interesting game.
Yeah.
And then he made it a stressful game when, uThermal finally did push.
All right, well, maybe Harstem just needs to kind of get past that initial early opening stage where obviously things cause problems versus uThermal and even versus Denver. I feel like it was in the super late game. Granted, PvZ, I think a lot of pro players are feeling very comfortable in the super late game when they get up that kind of carrier army, but
yeah,
maybe it's just Harstem's feeling a little bit more confident in his late game play over his early gameplay right now.
It's very possible, It's also just possible that because uThermal had to react to all the things that he was scouting, that there wasn't the absolutely perfect, I'm playing against the AI type of build order that he was able to execute.
That's true.
In the first 2 games. Like, he wasn't pressured. I think he pulled SCs like a couple times. That was it. Like a stim, combat shields, barracks producing constantly. That's why the first push always looks so good.
Yeah, and
this game was completely different.
And we were even talking about how uThermal was kind of in a bit of the dark for quite a bit of time. He didn't know the disruptors were really the big tech choice until much later on. He saw that there was one Phoenix, but that was really all he saw. He didn't know that there was like what other tech exactly that was coming down or whatever.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, he got the scan. He was able to mentally prepare, but then, you know, whereas in the last series, Harstem pouncing on the army quickly turned into him just losing, and we're like, oh, it was awkward. In that game, when he pounced on the army and got the Liberators, it already gave him a good start, because you could just tell uThermal was like, oh shoot, okay, I really got to get going, which is the exact opposite of what you want from against Disruptors.
Yeah.
Whenever you feel like you're in a hurry against Disruptors is when they're going to get the huge strikes.
Oh man, this is kind of crazy though, because now Harstem being up 1-0 in the decider match, it's only a best of 3. You only get one more chance really here as uThermal, where you have to win these next 2 games, and it's going to be crazy if uThermal manages to take one of the games off of Cyril with a really slick kind of all-in, and then has a really close game number 3, and even a really good job in game number 1, but if he gets 2-0'd over here from Harstem, it's like, wow, you put up a great fight versus Cyril, and then you might not make it out of the group.
Yeah, that would just be shocking if you just watch the whole day, right, as a whole. uThermal is supposed to be kind of on the top of his game with a performance like that, first versus Harstem and then versus Cyril, and then it's like very quickly the momentum shifts, and maybe he can't reclaim it.
Group curse is too strong, Zombie Grub,
exactly.
is it?
The group curse is too strong, maybe.
When the first, I always just imagine then people are like, if you go into a group with Sarah, like, okay, my strategy is I have to lose my first match, because if I win my first match, I'll lose to the group curse because I can't beat Cyril.
Right. Yeah.
So you got to go into your first match thinking I'm going to lose the first match, and then when I lose then I beat the person in the lower bracket, then I can win the decider match.
You know, sometimes I wonder what would have happened if Fear Dragon was a pro gamer. You know, just like imagine like if his skills were actually up to snuff. Not only does he have amazing, you know, mind games like that, but he also, when he like messages Blizzard about his balance ideas, they actually take him seriously.
Oh my god, actually
that would be very sad.
That was one of my favorite moments. Is there's a BlizzCon, like was it Blizz? No, I think it was WCS Valencia last year. Okay. And there was this moment, because I'm commentating the event. We're in like the green room and everything. All the other all the other casters are at the desk. So there's no one even there to just like look at me. Like there's no Jeff there to be like, are you freaking for real? So it's just me and like a bunch of the members of the balance team who are there to like talk about random stuff like balance, war chest, etc. And I'm just sitting there straight faced giving them suggestions like, okay, but look, I really do think that StarCraft would be a much more exciting game, and it'd be a lot more micro-intensive if after you fire the disruptor shot can blink, because then you get a lot more of those really juicy moments there. You know how, like, you know, we've been talking about casting together for a while, and I was saying how I'm gonna break out that meme, like the Judgmental Chloe meme. Yeah. And I was like, I was waiting for the opportunity to do that. So let's just rewind and pretend you just said what you just said. And I'm gonna go. Well done. Thank you, Fear Dragon. All right, for those who are wondering, we are not actually just reminiscing about good times because we want to, but also because uThermal is, in fact, I think, currently needs a little bit of time. Yeah. Get set up, get situated after that last game. I guess, or he just really wants the color red. He's just fighting for it. It's a petition without words. No. uThermal should be blue. It's Team Liquid Blue. That's the way the world should be. Yeah, exactly. And wolves are kind of blue too, so it makes sense. Oh. I really like your wolf. It's like my wolf, or like the puppy. Like, yeah, yours is like not super confident. Yours is like the unconfident wolf. She's like, woo. Thank you. I'm an unconfident wolf. Good to know. Well, you're a very confident. What was it? A very confident horse. Oh. You're Nay. Nay. Am I though? Hey, Mark is ready. We're ready to go, guys. Goodness. Oh, this could only have lasted so much longer. Dodge that bullet. Let's hop into Acid Plant for game number 2. Find out whether or not uThermal can bounce back in this series, or if Harstem is going to be able to lock down a 2-0 and come out second in the group. The group of death, as a lot of people were saying.
Well, everyone here was scary, including Denver. I know he didn't. He got 4-0, and that does suck. But all the 3 out of 4 of the games.
Denver looked scary after you started seeing him play, because I think you look at that group and you're like, you know, Denver's like a decent player, but he's kind of the underdog, and you're like, wow, he really impressed me.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's get started. Spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have our red Protoss player from Team Asterion. He is Harstem.
And to the bottom right, as the blue Terran for Team Liquid, he is uThermal.
Zombie Grub.
What? What?
I don't want to alarm you.
What?
But I saw the golden disruptor skin on Harstem's disruptors, and I forgot to mention it beforehand. I think he had the new disruptor skin on.
You can tell the difference for us skins.
Wow. You know, I can tell because M. Canning uses the golden disruptor skin, because his disruptors are worth their weight in gold.
Good one. Good one.
By the way, if you guys want those, those disruptor skins, or just any of those skins, they are available in those war chests.
And they are beautiful and unique, and they all are equal. The Zerg skins are not massively better. They're all created equal.
I do like the Terran skins.
I have not. Oh my gosh, Fear Dragon. I've been traveling. You know, the skins I see are the ones that are in all these war chest ads. That's the only ones that I've seen.
Because you can't use them in WCS.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You're like, all the games I'm watching right now, we don't get to see them.
I haven't watched streams. I haven't played many games. Just been traveling and being sick.
All right, well, you can finally get a little bit of a break when you get home on tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally check them out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be really mad at myself for being so bad at Starcraft, and then play 20 games, and then be like, I'm done. It's over. Quitting. But anyways, so these guys, the normal openers, sometimes uThermal after losing a game does go ahead and just immediately try and get that cheeky win, but this was the same map order as the last series, wasn't it? Catalyst and Acid Plant?
Ooh, now that you mention it, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember, because we were talking about the Widow Mine that was over here versus Catalyst. Yeah, slightly different position.
These guys
You're right.
Pro gamers, right? They love the maps.
But inverse spawn, Zombie Grub. And there was a statistic.
Well.
There was a statistic that was thrown out there long time ago. Someone did the analysis. They crunched the numbers. So even something that Jeff, I think, has not dared to do. But top versus bottom win rates.
Yes, yeah.
And I believe it was Rotterdam that requested it. And I think it was that... What was it? I think it was bottom had a better win rate. And it was like a 51% win rate or 53% win rate over top. And the reason that Rotterdam cited was dealing with harassment, if you're on the bottom spawn, is easier than dealing with it on the top.
I mean, as a Terran, I usually just say, the extra 1% is when your reactor's on the wrong side and gets hit by lights.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's only Terran problems. I don't really care that much about those.
Yeah, you wouldn't. We have a similar, so this is so weird, right? The first best of 3, both games were identical in build orders for both players. Set number 2 of the best of 3, it's the same exact thing, but they're just using different build orders in the first set. But the point is, it's like the Stargate with the Adepts versus uThermal going for Cyclones. Although I guess, actually this time he goes for a Viking instead of a Medevac. Didn't he get a Medevac first last time? Or maybe he went Medevac second.
No, he went for a Medevac first.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah then.
But, okay, well, we do have the Adepts getting very aggressive here, right off the get-go. Oracle, not really going to get too much done as it gets forced back by that Viking. And we end up seeing just a single Phoenix also being made, while Harstem just goes straight over to that third base.
uThermal did try and use a sneaky Widow Mine. He barely missed.
Yeah.
Too. But he's going to try and get something later on.
Do you know if Harstem spotted the Widow Mine?
No, I'm pretty sure he didn't.
Okay. Well, the Oracles are not going to be moving in from that angle, but they might retreat from that angle. No, Viking actually going to push it back in the opposite direction. And in the center of the map, you know, I kind of like that he was just getting that aggressive with the Adepts, not just trying to go for the, oh, I'm going to shade over to your main base, but actually going after some of the Marines. I always enjoy when Pros players are a little bit more daring about that.
Got the Twilight Council and Forge at a time that was a little more usual, not that heavy pressure like last game. And yeah, probably gonna be Blink. Don't see any more Stargate production. uThermal. All right, so this is what's really cool about uThermal when he does play against Stargate is that he is so good about pushing the Oracle, scouting back, whether it be literally killing them with the Widow Mine placement or just having the Viking constantly tag them before they get too far in, is that he can do like sneakier builds. He can change his builds up. And as opposed to, you know, the all-knowing Protoss laughing in your face because they see everything, they don't. They see it maybe halfway across the map, but that still changes, you know, kind of how they're actually going to tackle the problem. So in this case, it's tanks, not just the triple barracks with a lot of bio.
Yep.
It's the first time we've seen the tanks versus Protoss, but they can be very powerful around this spot that we're on right now, in fact, is where you usually see the tanks go up against. And if Harstem's not already prepared, like maybe with a bit of a surround or just trying to tackle them before they even get across the map, then it could be a hard tank push to break.
All right, Oracles move forward. They do snag a tag on the Cyclone for now, but those siege tanks still just being pulled up in the corner of the base over here for uThermal. So like you said, this is very much going to go under the radar. And in fact, even going to load them up in the medevac maybe? Oh, this is actually going to hide them for even longer because, well, I guess actually if you see an army as a Protoss player of just pure Marines.
That's just
oh, actually there's one. There's still that one Widow Mine from earlier. If he just sees the Widow Mine and he doesn't see the full extent of the Marines, you kind of just see the front of the army, you might actually think that there are just further more Widow Mines further back behind.
No, this could still be gotcha moment.
Oh!
Oh wow, are you serious? Oh, are you serious?
I'm not sure if this is good or bad.
Wow. Oh, that's great. That every single Marine escaped it.
But then on the retreat, you find out they actually ran.
Oh, this is bold. Oh, I thought he was gonna.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, the tanks get sieged up, which is what I was worried about. But
yeah,
that's the point of it.
Not siege up inside the range of the Nexus, but this is still a very annoying siege up spot.
Yeah, anything behind kind of the wall and down the ramp is annoying. uThermal's going to grab a third CZ on location behind this. Little bold, once again, having both tanks on siege, but they're part of the fight now.
Ooh, good Blink Stalker micro actually trying to avoid some of the siege tank shots, but at the end of the day, the Stalkers are not enough on their own, and uThermal looks like he may be able to. Honestly, I just don't see how Harstem actually ever pushes back.
Yeah, that was overstaying your welcome to like the nth degree. That was just a long time with Stalkers, pure Stalker too, right? They had one upgrade, but it wasn't really a whole lot else. And I think that's just it. That's an easy army for Terrans to be like, yep, I beat that. That's it.
All right, not even gonna need that third base. There it is, GG. uThermal ties up the series 1-1 in a very, very one-sided push.
Yeah, both these games. Well, I mean, last game wasn't so much one-sided.
last game was like the opposite of that,
yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, but that was more reminiscent of the first series. Do you even know what the third map would have been for the first series?
No, I have no idea.
I'm gonna guess it's whatever the third map is for this one.
Wouldn't be surprised. You know, it's so funny when you talk to players, because like I think as a fan, you think that all the players have these super elaborate like understandings of how the map vetoes work, and there are actually, I will credit, there are some players that do.
Sure.
But then you'll have those have those conversations with players, and you'll have players that I think it was Neve that I had this conversation with most recently, where he was just like, yeah, you know, sometimes I just don't even want to do map vetoes. I just want to say like pick whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Neve's an
really?
odd fellow.
Yeah, he is. He is. That is true.
You know, like most of the pro gamers actually do something while they're waiting for the lobby to start. Neve just sits there. It's weird.
It reminds me. There's like a. Oh man, it's like a webcomic or something like that where it just has this moment where someone's like, yeah, you know, I saw this person sitting in a coffee shop.
Oh.
And they weren't listening to music. They weren't talking with them. They weren't reading a book or on their phone. They're just sitting there. It's like, wow, what a psychopath. Who does that? Just sits there and drinks their coffee. It's like, what?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Third map is going to be 16-bit, by the way.
All right. Well, Harstem still has to correct his color.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, as I said, I think this would have been the first series as well. We didn't get to see it because uThermal made, well, the last game was what it looked like for both games, the first series. But 16-bit, you don't, it's such a different map compared to Astral Plant in my mind. It's like so many different things about it. I don't think uThermal gets the same surprise tanks, first of all. I think maybe now that Harstem realizes things can differ up, he's going to be a little more eager because he could have sacrificed one Oracle most of the time to get a scout.
Yeah.
Assuming one Widowmine pops that Oracle off, like if you really are like, I don't know what he's doing.
Well, the funny
you
thing
can
was,
sacrifice
it wasn't even like there was the threat of an Oracle that he was concerned about, but it was never really directly the Widowmine, the threat of the Widowmine that he was concerned about. But it was never really the Widowmine that was pushing back the Oracle. It was the Viking, it was the Cyclone, or it was the Marines. It was like always those three. The Widowmine was just always positioned there, and we were always like,
is he gonna do it?
is he even gonna get start to target it? Like, it never actually being revealed, unless he just has crazy good vision. But on specifically that map, detecting oracles can be very difficult. For those who don't know, you can see a little hint of a little shadow of the Widowmine. I keep saying Oracle instead of Widowmine.
Yeah, you're really confusing. That hasn't been the great explanation. But the point is, that tank push wasn't the main problem that it wasn't scouted. I mean, it's part of the problem. You didn't have that mental preparation. You didn't have maybe zealots, even if they weren't recharged, just kind of set up somewhere else. So this game, I want to say shouldn't look like the last one, but I said that about the first series, and then I was absolutely wrong. So we'll see what happens on 16 bits. We get spawned in here. In the bottom left, as the red Protox, he is Harstem.
Top 32 at all 2018 events. In WCS.
I mean, I guess you like glass half full. It's consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, spawning up here in the top right, we have our blue Terran player from Team Liquid. He is uThermal. Did get a tweet from E-Wolves, by the way. I think you also got a tweet.
Both did.
Yeah, we did.
Honorary members.
Wait, we're honorary members now?
Isn't that what it said?
That's not what mine said.
Oh, okay, well.
Maybe they made you an honorary member. They're like, maybe if you raise your MMR a little bit.
Like I'm a Boy Scout.
Oh.
A Cub Scout. There you go. I'm a Cub Scout.
Mine was just like, yeah, we're like a for fun clan.
Oh, right, because, yeah, I think we did get slightly different ones. I don't remember if mine did or not, but I like to assume that they
You just invited yourself.
I invited myself.
Are you actually going to join the clan?
Maybe. But maybe it is an MMR thing. Get back home and
Your MMR is pretty high, though. You're pretty close to GM.
At one point I was.
Well, your MMR probably hasn't changed that much.
Well, I haven't played in a long time.
Yeah, but your MMR still stay the same.
Yeah, I mean, after tanking it, you know what, whatever. Let's not talk about my MMR. Let's talk about these guys' MMRs.
Okay.
Let's talk about your MMR.
Let's talk about my MMR and how I tanked it in the hotel. Because I got anxious about getting a Masters.
Yeah, isn't that always the case? Anywho, so 16-bit, I was talking about how it's just a vastly different map than Asuplant. I mean, so many reasons. First of all, there's Reaper hop-up spot. Hey, great. Not that uThermal's had problems scouting with his Reaper. It's almost always done a very good job. It's got that hanging natural that is going to be very annoying for both players. Let's say that Harstem gets a Warp Prism. That natural always going to be hit. uThermal gets Medivacs, as Terrans do. Natural's always going to be hit. And then just the general base layout and the map layout. I mean, I think it is a bigger map base to base, especially considering your naturals behind your main.
Ooh, Reaper just barely missing the scout on that Robo.
It'll get it. It's a uThermal Reaper.
Really though? This is a full wall off on this side, and the Adept has done a great job. Is it a full wall off? It is a full wall off.
Okay, that was weird. I guess he was like, I don't know.
I think he believed like there was this little gap right here. He's like, I can fit through that.
Yeah. So now things are complicated though, because he took so much damage. I thought he was going to wrap around, so maybe he doesn't see that's a Robo opener. As Harstem changes away from the Stargate to the first two games.
I don't think he does, because the Reaper actually went down somewhere.
Wow, excellent observing.
I'm no Rotterdam. Actually, I love that Rotterdam responded to In Control, or like he tweeted at In Control. He was like, as soon as I hosted you guys, you were taking shots at me, and we were literally just sitting there complimenting his observing.
Yeah.
We're like, what? We were literally talking about how you're a better observer than me.
It's true. Yeah, I don't know why I got the shot off. I mean, actually, you could probably click on the Adept and see if it got one kill.
I mean, it did.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so that's what happens. There we go. So
glad we confirmed that after already checking the unit.
It was the most important thing about this game.
We need to know, did the Stalker or the Adept kill it?
It's very important.
All right.
So it's a Blink here.
Opening. But uThermal, not going to know necessarily that it is going to be that Blink opening. And pretty soon you should be saying, okay, Oracle never came forward, so probably can assume it's not the Stargate, but is it still going to be a really fast Robo? Was it a faster Twilight Council? What's really going to be the order of operations here?
Plus, I mean, some Protosses like to hold up on 2 oracles and be sneaky about it, but he's not too worried. He's gonna bypass the Observer. But this is, gotta remind you that Harstem had an excellent defense for the first 5 seconds of the Widowmine drop, and then still lost 11 probes, so.
Yeah, that's always the most frustrating thing is when you pull your probes away, but it's just like you didn't pull them away slightly far enough. It was just a half a centimeter too close to the Widowmine, so it still gets the target fire off.
If he deals with this like he should be dealing with it, that's only 2 Widowmines that dropped out, and he does
pull him further, pull him further.
Okay.
Oh,
it's almost deja vu.
well, he's gonna try and run away with the active Widowmine for a little bit further, but does get picked off, and this is the defense that Harstem almost had in that second game of the last series.
So now that he's defended that no problem, he has a fairly fast third base. I mean, this is gonna be up and running without any problems, as uThermal, I think Harstem's about to see if he hasn't seen already, is going for a third CC. So even if he did like a tank push, it wouldn't be very committed, it wouldn't be like super scary. The Observer is taken down, but it saw everything that it needed to.
Yep.
I mean, I know we mentioned uThermal's gone mech versus Protoss before, but that was back when like Terrans were all collectively like trying to like gather like, oh, how do we beat Protoss? That was like the beginning of 4.0 basically. But yeah, that's the only thing you would really need to scout. Now it's gonna be bio. I guess with uThermal, you do want to scout how many tanks. Oh my god, it is mech. Dang.
Wow, Zombie Grub. All I have to do is just let you keep talking, and then I can be like, haha, I did not also fall into that same trap.
Yeah, like you were gonna say, no, I think it's gonna be mech. I think it's all good.
Yeah.
I mean, I was waiting for the barracks.
I was just being polite. I didn't want to interrupt you.
I was waiting for the barracks, and I was like, oh, that's okay. But that's, well, you know, that I don't know if that is because he killed the Observer and he's deciding to mix things up, or this is exactly what I'm going to do on 16-bit. But regardless, you know, mech or bio, they're both getting some pretty fast expansions. Definitely a macro game. Yep. And as long as Harstem knows how to deal with mech, I mean, I think he'll eventually see it. It shouldn't be that long.
Okay, leaving that one Stalker over there just to try and deal with that Liberator and keep it from being too annoying. Harstem has some pretty good vision around the map, so... Ooh, actually found the sweet spot there.
There's definitely a sweet spot for you. As you're gonna see
Stalker.
It's all they really have to worry about. So Harstem knows that there's not a push coming, even if he didn't realize that it's mech, which he still doesn't quite know. But he is going to eventually just kind of like, you know, like where's the push? Where's the drop? What's going on here? And that's going to at least send him back in to scout if it's factories or barracks.
Do you know when combat shields, off of this kind of opening that uThermal went for, when combat shields would normally be done?
8 minutes.
Okay. So yeah, it'd still be some time before, like, if an Adept sees a Marine without combat shields, you're like,
It is weird though, because I don't know how often Protoss players pay attention to that.
I think I just always assume that pro players are smarter than me, so if I thought of it, surely they have.
I mean, they definitely are.
I mean, thanks, Zombie Grub.
No,
you don't have to phrase it that way.
But I don't know, like, because combat shields I feel isn't usually like, I mean, of the main things Protoss are scouting, it's stim and medevacs.
I guess just to be fair, it's not very often that you even face off versus Terran mech, so I can see what you're saying where it's not very often that you're even saying like this is an indicator of something.
No, I really feel like it's more just like Harstem's like, okay, where's the drop?
Yeah.
I mean, has he sent his Observer back in? I know uThermal built a couple missile turrets.
He had a Observer outside of the natural,
you know what,
but it was...
He saw double armoring.
Oh, did he?
In the natural, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess the Observer barely got there before the missile turret died in the natural.
Oh, in the natural.
Yeah, there we go.
In base now.
So that basically tells you
okay.
in there. So now that we know that, it's just like, okay, so he's building nothing but Stalkers and Immortals so far. We do have a Stargate and a Stargate built though, so there is a plan perhaps to go up to Fleet Beacon.
Yeah, because he didn't start off with the Stargate. This is something I added on afterwards because he went for the Blink Stalker opening. Zealot's going to be encountering a couple of these Hellions in the middle of the map as well, but the Warp Prism is moving into that in-base natural. We're very close to it. It's got a couple of these Zealots also loaded up. There's a few missile turrets already prepared.
Yeah, I think this is a great choice even if he wasn't playing mech. So this. I mean, he's going to be able to get to 3, maybe 4 bases, but it's such a... You watch mech against Protoss, a Protoss who knows it's mech too, isn't just caught, like, doing, I don't know, something really silly. Oh, okay. And you finally see an engagement happen, especially if it's the Terran that moves out with the mech army, and you're like, well, this mech army looks really scary. You know, I play Zerg sometimes, I play Terran, and PvT mech's a scary army, and then Protoss just is like, nope. And just, like, envelops it and kills it, and you're just like, why do people go mech?
All right, well, it looks like we're resuming the game.
Oh, that was quick.
We just wanted to get a beautiful shot of us.
Yeah, I needed my motions in there with my hands. So
There you go. To explain your point.
yeah, exactly. But like seriously, the last few times I've watched mech happen, it was a reminder as to why mech isn't really a thing. So we'll see what changes uThermal can make here to make it look convincing.
Yeah, you know, to be fair, I have to say that the few times that I did see the mech, and again, it was a while ago, like you said, it's been a bit since I've seen a lot of Terran players try and go for that mech style, but uThermal was the one that made it look the most convincing and how strong and powerful it can really be. It's not exactly always the easiest composition to actually get the big wraparound on a lot of the time. It's the way that uThermal plays mech, I feel like, is a little bit more mobile than a lot of other Terran players because you have so many of these Hellions running around the map. You have the constant Liberator harassment. And yeah, the Siege Tanks are the immobile aspect, but then you actually have the transition of the Cyclones that a lot of the time can catch the Protoss by off guard.
If there was one thing that was proven, though, because there was a time where like a lot of really good Terrans are trying this, like Gumiho, right? Like a mech master is trying to prove this could work. Is that, okay, maybe you have a couple of good mid-game mech games or you win with the maxed out push. You have a couple people trying to go with ghosts against the mid-game Protoss army, ground army. That's all well and good. That can maybe still win, but it seems to be proven no matter what is that if you let the Protoss get to like 6 carriers, I want to say, with a couple of upgrades, no matter what you do, it feels impossible. Although I guess everyone's going to post that clip of Nathanius with Liberators, right, and Vikings. So it's not totally impossible, but I feel like if that does occur, I don't know. I don't know.
Hellions gonna surround a complete concave on these stalkers.
Okay.
So they're not gonna fare too well for too much longer. And ooh, that's actually a pretty cute pylon placement. We just had a lot of pylon placement throughout this entire series so far from Harstem.
What are you gonna do? Send Hellions and kill that?
Cyclone?
Takes as long as well the pylon. Oh yeah, you can send one Cyclone, I guess.
Yeah.
That's not expensive though. Well, anyways. Like Harstem's done what he should do. He's expanded to 5 bases, maybe the 6th as he's starting to bank, but he's also trying to transition. So this fight is pretty important as this is a scary mech army with 2-2 with Liberators complicating things as well.
Okay, here we go. Oh, sieging up. Yeah, Harstem got to get the heck out of there. He's got a handful of these Immortals that are going to be very helpful, and some good storms can make a bit of a difference here in taking care of some of those frontline Hellbats and everything, allowing the Immortals to close the distance as well as those charge lots. But for now, uThermal situated very, very well and actually cutting them off from 2 different sides.
Harstem's trying to get a bit of a surround with a couple of units on the backside, but I think he really needs to get like a huge surround from the top as well if he wants to go in, but well, he kind of set it up, and he decides to go for it.
Yeah, but I don't think this is going that well right now for Harstem. The Siege Tanks, a lot of them are very well covered. The Liberators are just going untouched, and Harstem gets obliterated.
He does. That was very awkward. It's like I don't know if that was AI or him trying to move over to the north, but he kind of went up the ramp and was like, oh no, wait, and went back down, and that just turned very awkward. uThermal utilizing a tank positioning very, very well, so much that Harstem, I mean, I guess he could try and go for the Hail Mary carriers at this point. His tech is all done for it, but he's not. He's trying to go back into Immortals and Archons.
He's got the 3 Stargates as well, and the funny thing is, I think he just doesn't have the gas for it right now.
Yeah,
because he has this base, but it looks like one of the gas guys got taken out. This base is only just now getting up those gas guys. He actually has 2 probes in one of those. So this is, it's something I think he would like to do, but I just don't think he has the option to.
Well, he made 6 High Templars, so before that,
yeah,
he kind of did. But the thing is that uThermal is on point anyways. You can take care of the carrier count up until that like 6 or 7 with Cyclones, especially if they're upgraded, which they are. So uThermal has already taken that into account. He wouldn't have died. In fact, Cyclones just demolished one or 2 carriers, which Harstem doesn't have. He's going to get a nice surround this time, but the Liberators are just destroying all the Archons.
Oh man, those 4 Liberators doing so much work. He does finally force the unsiege, and he actually is going to be able to clean things up, but he loses one of those bases. He's still in a little bit of trouble, and those Liberators get sieged up, and the Cyclone support is here. The transition we were talking about. This is where things still just round 2 becomes very, very scary to deal with.
Yeah, and he's going to have that 3-3 upgrade as well, which just worked really well on the Cyclones. The Liberators still don't have a real cleanup option. This is actually where I would love to see a couple of Tempests try and stay out of the way, the Cyclone lock on, and then try and chip away the Liberators, because those are a serious problem.
And they make a lot faster than the carriers as well. You can actually get those out in a reasonable amount of time.
But it feels like this might be a little bit too late. He finally took care of a powerful tank ground army, but is starting to get a little overwhelmed. His production is now under fire, and there are just more Liberators coming forward. Those are just the real, like, kickers here. The Stalkers aren't in plentiful enough numbers.
Oh man, I wonder if uThermal even knows about that other top left-hand base, because he might send some units there, but here we go. Big engagement. Charge lots do get on top of the Cyclones, but as soon as those charge lots are gone, the Stalkers are going to disappear. Once the Stalkers disappear, there's not a whole lot left to power up the rest of the army. uThermal takes the 2-1, shuts Harstem down after a hopeful game number 1. Says, no, actually, I am in fact the one that advances out of this group.
Yeah, Harstem made it definitely more of a match than the first time they played, but uThermal still ends up winning, and with mech, which is really awesome to see. I think he had a very abusive spot, and Harstem maybe should have had like a different angle in many regards. Maybe forced him to siege on siege more.
His top angle hit maybe like 4 or 5 seconds later than the rest. So there are of course some small things that could definitely be adjusted, but overall, uThermal played that really, really well. Got into a very, very abusive spot there and was able to close it out. So congratulations to uThermal. It's the second player that makes it out of the European group.
Yeah, him and Sarah will move on.
Cyril has a good performance, but you know what, Zombie Grub?
What?
He drops a map to uThermal, showcasing that he is in fact still mortal. He's not going to have that flawless, no loss, no maps dropped challenger run, as he's always at least dropped 1, maybe 2, 3 maps in all the previous seasons.
I don't think Cyril thinks I have to win. I think he thinks I have to win without being ever defeated, and then that's like a good goal for
You know
him.
what the funny thing is? If you ever talk to Cyril, though, it's always like, I hope I can win.
Yeah, I know, right? Like that's just...
I hope there's a lot of really good players out there.
So nice.
I think I'm actually not favored versus some of them. I'm like, who Cyril? He's like, I don't want to say.
You're right, he does do that.
Yeah.
But honestly, I feel like it's like, well, anyways, uThermal.
Yeah.
He said he was the one that could take him down, and then maybe they will face each other again later on in this tournament. But for now, they're both safe.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we do have North America coming up next, but a lot of really awesome StarCraft still left over. We got Scarlet, we got Puck, we got Future, and we got Cuddle Bear in Group B of North America. Please, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We still got more WCS Challenger action coming your way.